His eyes were red. Not from anger. From the weight of betrayal. He just stood there, at the foot of our bed, holding my phone like it was poison. I was still tangled in the sheets, my hair damp from what had happened just hours before. My chest rose and fell in panic, because I knew what he had seen. It was a picture. Me. Nude. In a hotel room that was not ours. Taken by a man who was not him. "How long?" he asked, voice hollow. I could not speak. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. Because the truth would kill him. And the lie had already murdered us. Thank you for clicking on this story. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. Your support means the world. If you have not subscribed yet, I cannot wait for you to hit that button. It is the fuel that keeps this channel alive. Drop your thoughts in the comments as the story unfolds. I would love to know how it made you feel. Now, let me take you back to how this all began. My name is Jessica. I am 34 years old. I live, or used to live, in Charlotte, North Carolina. Suburbs. Backyard fire pits. Weekly wine nights with neighbors. The kind of neighborhood where everyone smiles, but you never know what is boiling behind those front doors. I was married to Daniel. 6 years. The kind of man every woman prayed for but somehow found too boring once they got him. He was faithful. Gentle. The kind of man who remembered anniversaries without checking Facebook. He opened my car door, left notes in my lunch bag, and never once forgot to say, "I love you," before going to bed. And I ruined him. It started with work. That is always how it starts, is it not? A little too much overtime. A little too much attention from someone new. Travis. He was the marketing director at my firm. Rugged. Confident. Way too familiar with his charm. He was the type who wore arrogance like cologne, and I hated how my body responded to it. We were in Florida for a company retreat. The beach. The drinks. The air that made you feel like consequences were suspended in the humidity. That night, I wore a red dress. One I would never dare wear in front of Daniel. Travis noticed. He leaned in close during dinner, his breath grazing my ear, his voice soft. "You are trouble in that dress," he said. I laughed. But something cracked open in me. We were drunk by 10. By 10:30, I was in his hotel room. By 10:35, his mouth was on mine, his hands sliding under the red fabric, my morals unraveling with every gasp. It was not gentle. It was not sweet. It was raw. Furious. Like I was punishing Daniel with every moan I let escape. I do not know what came over me. Maybe it was the wine. Maybe it was the part of me that resented how perfect Daniel was. How predictable our life had become. Or maybe I just wanted to feel wanted in a different way. The next morning, I lied. I texted Daniel, told him I was hungover and staying in bed. He sent me a voice note praying I felt better. I played it as I was getting dressed in the same room where I had just betrayed him. That was the first time. But it was not the last. Travis and I became reckless. Bathroom stalls at work. Lunch breaks that turned into motel rooms. Text messages that would make your skin burn. Every time I went home, Daniel kissed me like he missed me. Every time I made love to him, I felt like a criminal, his eyes closed, his hands gentle, while I imagined Travis on top of me. He trusted me blindly. That was the part that broke me the most. He never questioned the long nights. Never checked my phone. Never doubted the woman he married. But everything comes to light eventually. One night, I left my phone in the bathroom while I showered. When I came out, Daniel was holding it. His brows were furrowed, his mouth flat. "You got a new friend named T?" My heart thumped so loud I thought the steam in the bathroom might hide it. I laughed. Shrugged. Said it was someone from the gym group chat. He smiled. Just wondering. You have been smiling at your phone a lot lately. Then he kissed my forehead and walked out. That moment haunted me more than any other. Because he was not accusing me. He was concerned. And I had just fed him poison with a smile. I should have stopped. But I did not. Something about the danger kept me chasing it. Something about being desired the way Travis did it, it was addictive. He pulled my hair, left bruises, whispered filthy promises in my ear. I felt alive and disgusting at the same time. But things began to unravel when Travis got careless. He started texting more. Even during family dinners. One night, he sent a voice note while Daniel and I were watching a movie. I played it without thinking, expecting it to be from my sister. It was not. It was his voice, deep and raw. I am still hard from this morning. I want you again. Same room tomorrow? Daniel looked at me. And I looked away. I blamed it on a spam message. He laughed it off. But something in his eyes changed that night. He stopped reaching for me as much. He watched me when I walked into rooms. Silent. Observing. And I could feel the foundation starting to crack. But the worst was still coming. It came one rainy afternoon. Travis and I had met up. A hotel off I-77. I was late coming home. Told Daniel the meeting ran over. He had cooked dinner. Steak. My favorite. He served me like I was a queen. Poured wine. Laughed at my fake stories. Then said he needed to shower. That was when he picked up my phone. I had left it on the table. Unlocked. The universe does not whisper warnings, it screams them. And I ignored them all. By the time I walked into our bedroom, he was holding the phone in his hand. I knew then, the secret I was hiding had just detonated. I sat at the edge of the bed, wrapped in nothing but a towel and dread. My skin was still damp from the hotel shower, but the sweat of fear had already begun to replace the scent of Travis on me. Daniel stood by the window, phone still in his hand, staring out into the yard like it held the answers to questions he had never asked until now. He had seen it. The photo. The messages. The hotel name. The timestamps. All of it. But he had not said a word. He just stood there. That silence was more terrifying than any screaming could have ever been. I wanted him to yell. I wanted something, rage, heartbreak, even disgust. Instead, I got nothing. When he finally turned around, his eyes were empty. Hollow. As if the man I married had exited his own body and left this stranger in his place. How long? The same question from before. But now, it came with weight. Finality. Daniel, I started, but my throat closed up. I could feel the tears pressing against my eyelids, but I fought them. I did not deserve to cry. Not here. Not now. He took a deep breath and walked out. Just like that. No bags. No goodbye. He just walked out of our bedroom and closed the door behind him. And I broke. The next morning, he was gone. His car. His keys. Even his toothbrush. The silence in the house was louder than any argument we could have had. And I knew, I had torn a hole into the only man who ever loved me without conditions. But the story did not start at that explosion. The cracks had been forming for weeks, months even. Let me take you back. Travis was not just a fling. At least, not to me. He became something else. Something dangerous. Something that dug under my skin and stayed there. We had developed a rhythm. Late nights in motel rooms. Texts during board meetings. Whispered promises in the parking lot while Daniel waited at home, probably cooking or folding my laundry. Travis knew I was married. But he never asked me to leave. He liked it better this way. The secrecy. The power. The fact that I belonged to someone else but still came running to him. He was like fire. Wild. Unpredictable. Addictive. And I kept throwing my life into the flames. There was this one night, early May, I still cannot shake it. Daniel had just surprised me with a candlelit dinner in our backyard. Twinkle lights strung over the fence, soft jazz playing through the outdoor speakers. He made grilled salmon and baked the exact lemon pie I always said reminded me of my mother. He was trying. Reaching for a version of us I had already buried beneath another man's body. I smiled through it all. Told him I loved him. Kissed him like it meant something. But I knew that in 12 hours, I would be in a Holiday Inn suite on the south side of town, bent over the bed while Travis pulled my hair and said things Daniel never would. I was losing myself. I knew it. And still, I could not stop. Things shifted when Travis started getting bold. Possessive. He began questioning my availability. Getting irritated when I did not reply quickly. Once, I turned my phone off for 2 hours while having dinner with Daniel's parents. When I turned it back on, there were 8 missed calls and 2 voice messages filled with frustration. "You are mine," he said once during sex, his hands gripping my wrists. "Do not forget that." I laughed it off, thinking it was part of the game. But part of me was starting to feel the noose tighten. Then came the threat. It was a Thursday. We had just finished in his car, parked behind the warehouse lot near work. I was buttoning up my blouse when he leaned over and whispered, "You try to ghost me, and I will walk into your husband's job and tell him everything." I froze. He was smiling. But there was something behind that smile. I laughed again, but it felt hollow. He was not joking. From that day on, it was no longer just about lust. It was survival. I was trapped in my own making. A prisoner to the man I had chosen to play with. And I hated myself for it. Daniel, of course, noticed. The space between us had become more than emotional. I started sleeping facing the opposite direction. I skipped dinners, lost interest in church, stayed late under the pretense of client deadlines. He watched it all. Quietly. Like a man measuring the collapse of his own home, knowing he could not stop it, only brace for the moment the walls caved in. Then came the night everything fell apart. I had just left Travis. My hair was messy, my bra in my purse, perfume on my skin that did not belong to me. I walked into the house and saw the candles. Daniel had made steak. Asparagus. Red wine poured. Soft music playing. I should have known something was off. But I was too arrogant. Too confident in his blind love. I sat. Ate. Laughed. He watched me. Smiling, but not really. Then he said, "I left your phone charging in the room." It kept buzzing. My stomach dropped. I wanted to run. But I smiled and nodded instead. He got up to shower. I walked into the bedroom and saw it, my phone on the nightstand. The screen still lit. A message from Travis. "Still thinking about how you moaned when I bit your neck. Same time tomorrow." And that was when Daniel walked back in. He had not gone to shower. He had been watching me read the message. That was the first time I saw rage in his eyes. Not loud. Not wild. But silent. Deep. The kind that does not burn, it freezes. He picked up the phone. How long? The question that haunted me. And then, silence. He left that night. The next few days were a blur. I called. He never answered. I went to his brother's house, he was not there. I tried his job. They said he was on leave. Gone. Just like that. Travis kept texting, still thinking I was his. But something inside me had snapped. I blocked him. Not because I was ready to be good again. but because I finally understood what I had done. I destroyed a man who never gave me a reason to doubt him. I gave my body to someone who only wanted to own it. I lost everything. For what? For thrills that turned to threats? For orgasms I could barely remember? The silence of our home was now permanent. His scent still lingered on his pillow. But his warmth was gone. And I could feel the walls close in. I checked my phone one night and saw an unsent message I had typed weeks earlier. Daniel, I love you. I am sorry. Please come home. I never sent it. Because I knew he was never coming back. I did not sleep for days. There was something about the absence of a man like Daniel that made every corner of the house feel haunted. I would walk into the kitchen and swear I could still hear him humming. I would open the closet and find myself burying my face in the sleeves of his flannel shirts, inhaling the last pieces of him that were left behind. But his body? His warmth? His presence? Gone. The man I betrayed had walked away without breaking a single dish, without raising his voice, without asking for explanations I did not deserve to give. I told myself he needed space. I believed, foolishly, that time would soften the blow. That he would come back, maybe not today or tomorrow, but eventually. We had built a life. Shared a home. Shared a bed. He was the kind of man who forgave. Always. But not this time. 3 weeks passed. And then I received an envelope in the mail. No return address. Just my name, written in his handwriting. Inside was a note. No more than 5 sentences. I loved you blindly. That was my mistake. You destroyed everything we built. There is nothing left to fix. I hope he was worth it. My fingers trembled as I read it. Not because it was cruel. But because it was final. He was not angry. He was done. And when a good man is done, he does not shout. He does not slam doors. He simply never looks back. People around me started noticing. I stopped going to work. I deleted my Instagram. My friends sent texts I ignored. My mother left voicemails asking if Daniel and I had gone on vacation. I did not have the heart to tell her the truth, that her perfect son-in-law had disappeared because her daughter had been giving herself to a stranger in cheap hotel rooms for half a year. I tried to make sense of it. To trace the steps backward and find the exact moment where I stopped being faithful. But the truth was, it was never just one moment. It was all of it. The lies. The little compromises. The rationalizations. It was the moment I chose excitement over loyalty. Fantasy over faithfulness. The man who made me feel wanted over the one who made me feel safe. And it cost me everything. As for Travis, he moved on. Quickly. I found out through mutual friends that he was already dating someone else. A new hire from the marketing department. Young. Fresh. Easy to control. He never loved me. I know that now. I was just a body. A game. A conquest he enjoyed because it came with risk. Once that risk turned into ruin, he lost interest. And I was left standing in the ashes of the fire I kept feeding. Months passed. The divorce papers arrived. Daniel had filled them out already. I just had to sign. There was a sticky note on the front. No lawyers. No drama. Just sign. I already moved out. Take everything. Everything. As if he believed none of it mattered anymore. And maybe it did not. I sat at the kitchen table, the same one where we used to drink coffee and talk about starting a family, and stared at the line I was supposed to sign. My hand hovered over the paper for an hour. When I finally wrote my name, I felt nothing. No relief. No closure. Just emptiness. A year went by. I moved to a smaller apartment across town. Sold our home. Left the neighborhood filled with memories I could no longer live with. I stopped going out. Stopped dating. Stopped trying to distract myself. I needed to sit in it. In the pain. In the silence. In the reality of what I had done. I stopped blaming Daniel for not forgiving me. I stopped fantasizing about redemption. I started praying again, not to get him back, but to become the kind of woman I wished I had been when I still had him. Then, one Sunday morning, I saw him again. I had gone to a little diner near uptown Charlotte. Just needed pancakes and a strong cup of coffee. The kind of morning where the sun was soft and nothing hurt too much. And there he was. Standing at the register, paying the bill. Wearing a plain t-shirt and jeans. Hair a little longer. Eyes still warm, but not for me. He was not alone. A woman stood beside him. Holding his hand. Laughing at something he whispered. She was beautiful. But more than that, she looked happy. Peaceful. Like she had never known the version of him I broke. They turned toward the door and he saw me. We locked eyes for just a second. He smiled. Not bitter. Not smug. Just, kind. And then he walked past me. No pause. No greeting. No hate. Just a nod. Like I was someone he once knew, in a different life, under a different sky. And that was the day I knew. He had healed. But I never would. I tell this story now because I know someone out there is dancing with the same devil I did. Someone is lying to a good man. Someone is flirting with destruction and thinking they can manage the fire. I was that woman. And this is what it cost me. I do not want pity. I do not want forgiveness from strangers. I just want you to know that when a man loves you blindly, you hold that love with both hands. You protect it. You guard it. You do not sell it for lust wrapped in danger. Because once it is gone, you will spend the rest of your life staring at closed doors, begging the silence to give you one more chance. And it never will.